Yield curve. A yield curve is a way to measure bond investors' feelings about risk. The shape of the Treasury yield curve helps in determining the current and future strength of the economy. A yield curve is a line that plots yield, i.e., interest rates of bonds having equal credit quality but differing maturity dates. The most used yield curves are 2 years, 10 years, and 30 years. The comparison is made between these yield curves only. There are generally 4 types of yield curve. 1. Normal yield curve. In this type of yield curve, longer maturity bonds have higher yields as compared to the shorter maturity bonds. This type of yield curve predicts economic expansion and stable economic conditions. The slope of the yield curve is upwards. 2. Steep yield curve. Although this type of yield curve is the same as a normal yield curve, but in this, the pace of rising longer-term yields is faster as compared to the short-term bond yields. As there is a large difference between the longer-term bond yields and short-term bond yields, generally, this type of yield curve leads to higher inflation and higher interest rates. 3. Inverted yield curve. In this type of yield curve, the slope is downwards. The short-term interest rate exceeds the longer-term interest rates. Although this type of yield curve predicts an economic recession, in this, the longer-term yields are lower as compared to the shorter-term bond yields. Investors seeking safe investments tend to purchase longer-dated bond securities. This takes the price of longer-term bonds higher and yields lower, as the bond prices move opposite to the bond yields. 4. Flat yield curve. In this type, the slope of the curve is flat, hence the name flat yield curve. The yields are the same across all the maturities. Although a few bond yields experience higher yields, such kind of situation implies a higher uncertain environment. This yield curve can also come at the end of higher economic growth. We hope that the information offered here adds to your knowledge of yield curves. In the next video, we will talk more about yield curve and its implications. Download Tradebulls Touch from the Play Store or the Apple Store and go to www.tradebulls.in to learn more.